Welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. We're going to make this life so good because some of our best days haven't even happened yet. So let's get to it.
Give yourself permission to be happy. I think crossing that line sometimes is hard for people. But once you cross that, once you go into the next stage of life, it becomes much easier. And it becomes much easier because it starts flowing out of you. It's a relief to be happy at times. You want to be, this is a hard world we live in right now. Every day there's something that we're confronted with that's just not so good. It's just, I'm not going to get political, but it's also the fact that it's just, we want to have more connection in this world. We want to have better connection. We want to be able to, anywhere where I go, I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to be a pretty good time. Even if it's a serious thing, we're still going to get along really well. Everyone's going to be respected. And we're going to solve our problems together, if I can help it.
Hello, and welcome to the show. You guys, we're doing one of my favorite things today. We're getting practical advice on how self-discipline brings happiness, which I have found in my own practices. So we're going to talk with an expert today. So welcome with me, Eric North. Eric is known as the Happiness Warrior. He's also the founder of the Performance Rejuvenation Center in Washington, D.C., and an advocate for healthy aging, yes, please, movement, yes, and the mind-body connection, teaching that self-discipline is the greatest form of self-love. Eric, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Amy. I'm just smiling. I'm so happy to be here myself, and thank you for having me. I'm so grateful, and we're going to have fun.
Yeah. Well, see, there you're already walking the walk. You're happy already. You're happy.
Yeah, always. I'm always happy.
Are you all okay? Let's start there.
I'm happy.
Let's
I'm able to touch happy. I'm able to really. I'm not always happy. There's things that make me. I'm upset about, or I'm angry about, or I feel unfair. But I'm always able to go through life without having that just kind of drag me down. I can always go to the next level without having all this stuff just fizzle in front of me and everything just gets so bad. I just can't live that way. I don't like other people to live that way either. And I try to help them find a more stable place to grow from.
I think it's timely that, we're jumping in right here because with everything that's going on in the world, of course, people don't feel like comfortable, I think, being happy. And they find it hard. Like, I'm like you. Like, I don't want to live my life unhappy. And I've done enough practices to where I'm happy, but I can step outside myself and understand that I'm having a human experience a lot of times, whether it's, frustration or anger over injustice, whatever it is. And I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable even being happy in a lot of ways. And so what do you tell people then? Do you kind of get what I'm saying too?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. That's one of my big threads in life that I'll go through. And I really think this is one of my things I go back to all the time. I've seen people who are just purposely unhappy. They make fun of people that are happy and they think it's going to be, give yourself permission to be happy. I think crossing that line sometimes is hard for people. But once you cross that, once you go into the next stage of life, it becomes much easier. And it becomes much easier because it starts flowing out of you. It's a relief to be happy at times. You want to be, this is a hard world we live in right now. Every day there's something that we're confronted with that's just not so good. It's just, I'm not going to get political, but it's also the fact that it's just, we want to have more connection in this world. We want to have better connection. We want to be able to, anywhere where I go, I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to be a pretty good time. Even if it's a serious thing, we're still going to get along really well. Everyone's going to be respected, and we're going to solve our problems together, if I can help it. And that's one of my things. I'm a leader by heart, by nature, and being a leader is not about being a big, tough, crazy alpha guy. It's about being able to listen, being able to be calm in situations that can get really heated, and how people lead them through so that they can keep their dignity for one thing, and learn and grow. Everything bad that happens is a lesson too.
Truly, it really is.
Bad. Yeah.
And people try to point out, oh, right now is the worst time. And I'm like, in human history, honestly, I'm not sure there was a good time. I mean, was there a good time? I happen to be listening to a podcast series right now on the Holocaust and Nazis. I mean, it was terrible, terrible. And so there's no, it's an inside job. It is so true to what you just said about just giving yourself permission, and it's okay. And I think that a lot of times we're afraid of being judged just for being happy.
Listen, I'm the happiness warrior. I go by the happiness warrior. People know me on the street sometimes as the happiness warrior. Though they recognize me. You're that guy I saw on TV. And I'm always like, first of all, it makes me feel good to know that they're seeing what I'm saying. But also it's about that we're going to have a good time. No matter if you're around me or at the post office and it's boring, there's a line of people, I'm still going to make the clerk have a good, I'm going to make that moment, at least a decent moment for that person in the time that we're together.
I love that.
And I said, and I believe that being the happiest warrior is, someone said to me, well, someone's going to make fun of you or not like what you're doing. And I said, well, I'm on TV tomorrow and I'm doing a 5-minute segment and everyone wants me to be there. So I must be doing the right thing. And I don't care if someone doesn't like what I'm doing. It doesn't matter to me because really they probably do. Anyway, they just can't admit it because they can't give themselves permission to be happy.
Yeah,
So,
I know. They're like side-eyeing you, because really, truly, we do desire happiness. That's what it's all about. And it's like, how do you get there? And that's the big question. I think that a lot of people, so many people just struggle with. It's not only like, am I allowed, but then how do I even get there? So let's talk about it.
well, I think first of all, I think one of the biggest things we'll see about happiness is when we have a purpose. And a lot of
Yeah.
times people are not able to define their purpose. So they're stuck in a job. You're never stuck in anything. You can make choices, you can change, you can take a leap sometimes. I've done things like start my own business, which is, it can be kind of a scary thing over the years. I've had my own business for 15 years and businesses. And the thing is, you're taking a lot of risks, but I'm taking a lot of, I'm strong enough in my ideas that I know they're going to work. And my ideas are kind of always a little different than everyone else's. I'll start a business that's a little, my longevity clinic, when I started almost 14 and a half years ago, 14 years ago, it was an outlier. It was not something that was mainstream. And a lot of people were really frightened by what I did. And sometimes I even say, what do you do at the gym? They ask me what I do. And they're frightened. We do TRT, testosterone therapy, hormone therapy, growth hormone therapies, all these great peptides and things that we use that make people's lives better and live better. But when I started, it was not a business that people were very suspicious of it. They were very afraid. Fear is another common denominator.
For sure.
That keeps us from being happy. So.
It is. And I want to talk more about that. You reminded me too, just with what you're saying about being a leader and stepping up and never being stuck in something. I think that I just read a quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was saying that don't come to me with a complaint and not a solution. And I think that I'm wondering what you would say about the connection between being solution-oriented and happiness.
Solution-oriented, you're always going to find a way forward. We're always going to find a way forward. I believe that if I believe in the solution to a problem, I'm going to get there. I always envision myself a captain on a ship in a stormy sea. I'm going to hold that wheel and I'm going to get there. I use that a lot when I'm helping other people try to find their way too. I say, just imagine you're all alone, you're holding the steering wheel, there's things coming at you from both sides, but your goal is to get to that, to get to your happy place. And a lot of times it's a business thing that I'm going through. It's something I have to navigate and get through the other side with everything intact and feeling good. But you have to make sure everybody feels good. It's not just a solo solution for myself or a unilateral solution, but I want to come up with the best outcome that makes everyone happy and walk away feeling good.
True, but there's like a codependency factor that you want to stay away from, right? You don't want to be responsible for other people's happiness.
No.
So how are you suggesting people discern that?
I look at ways to help people. When I say I'm helping someone, it's not like an egotistical thing. It's more of just a guide. Sometimes things come to me and I don't know how, I write a lot. And sometimes my words just come flying out of me and I don't know what I'm even writing until I'm done. And I think this is pretty good and I have to edit it. But you think about when the solution is always in ourselves. We always have the power to be happy. We have the power to control our emotions and we have the power to live our lives the way we want to, if we really want to. And that's what it comes down to. So.
Yeah, it's true. We don't give ourselves credit
we don't give ourselves credit.
How much power we have.
And getting back to the dependency thing, so what I try to do with people is I try to help them find what's best in themselves. Shine a light on it. You're really amazing at this. You're really great at this. This is something you have a lot of potential to do, so that you leave the feelings in their own head that they're capable themselves without having someone who's like a friend of mine said to me a few years ago, I was thinking about what else I should do else with my life. He said, you should be a life coach. you should be a motivational speaker. And I thought, I don't want to be like a common motivational speaker who has a big platform and everybody's looking up and no one can do anything unless that person tells them what to do. Like a few big people I can think of like that. People follow them blindly and they don't find the solution within themselves. They find the solution in hanging on to somebody else on someone else's coattails. So I don't like
Yeah.
that.
I
I like
I
independence.
I don't either. I feel like at some
Yeah.
point you like release the bird. It's like go be free,
Always.
right? And create your own. And I've seen behind the curtain on some of those things. I love some of those speakers too. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh, I do too. I
but
get so much out of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
But I don't think we should be dependent on them and the
no,
point where we start worshiping them in some ways. People that worship politicians, they worship these people, they worship motivational speakers. Yeah, I
yeah,
admire them a lot and they're courageous and they're often brilliant. But we all have the potential to be brilliant. We all have the potential
yes,
to
we
shine,
do.
you know.
Yes, we
So it's not
absolutely
one.
do.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about self-discipline because I really loved that you used the phrase self-discipline is the greatest form of self-love. I heard a speaker the other day and she said she was defining hope and I don't always love hope. I have kind of
Or either.
well, let me tell you what she said. She kind of redefined it and flipped it around for me and I can't stop thinking about it. She said, hope is understanding your worthiness to be uncomfortable, that
Okay.
you are worthy of being uncomfortable. And I was like, huh, like that's so interesting because I think a lot of times we think of hope as something softer. And it reminded it when I read this about you and self-discipline and happiness, like we don't always put all these together, right? We think our happiness is our warm, comfy bed. And this is flipping that around too. And like we are worthy of being uncomfortable and that's where the magic happens. And so let's talk about the tie-in because I've done this too, like the tie-in of self-discipline and happiness, and
Well,
how you discovered it and how you recommend that to people.
I think that everything I've ever done that I wanted to do, and a lot of people have told me, no, you can't do that, or no, you're not going to be able to do that, or this is impossible. And I've always thought, I have the hope that I can do it because I know I can do it. So I have faith in myself. I think faith and hope go together a lot.
Hmm.
I don't like to use the word hope. Like, I hope I can do this. I hope I can,
Yeah, it
that
feels
to me is
yeah,
like putting
like
it makes me feel icky and it makes me feel like we're not giving ourselves any credit. Okay.
right.
And if it's just like that. So that ties right in what you're saying. And so hope is the bad thing. Self-discipline, though, is when you really believe in yourself. If
Hmm.
you really believe in your greatness, then you will instill the self-discipline that's needed because that's what it takes to move forward in life. That's what it takes to share our ideas, to be on your own podcast, to have your own podcast. You have to be able to be strong and you have to be able to just say, I can do this. And that is self-discipline. And self-discipline to me is, I think everything we do it has purpose. Everything we do has purpose. For working out, or we're reading, or we're walking, or extra, socializing. There should be a purpose involved there too, because we want to grow. We don't want to stay stagnant.
Right.
So
Right. I'm all about a growth mindset. And I think that for me, self-discipline just showed up as just getting super diligent about my own daily habits. And I wonder what those look like for you. And I feel like then you get to a point where you just embody them and it's not self-discipline anymore. It's brushing your teeth, right?
I would say it's hygiene. It's
Yeah,
hygiene. It's just
yeah, it's
hygiene. It's just,
hygiene.
yeah, it's just
Yeah. So
how we take care of ourselves.
how did those start appearing for you? Did you have a transitional moment and then suddenly it clicked or?
I think I had a lot of really good examples in my life from I think many of us do, and the adults that raised us. It could be aunts or cousins or whatever, but someone older than my grandparents. And watching how they got through life and the values that they taught me were always to, you know, just not trying to be lazy. We have something we can do right now. We can learn something. We can go have some fun. But we have to take self-discipline, though, is creating those daily habits that really, like you say, they become part of your life. They're not hard. They make life easier. They make life easier. They make life take up less time. Things take up less time. And what we do now, I say this a lot for our bodies, what we do now to take care of ourselves affects us 10, 20 years from now, 30, the rest of our lives. So, self-discipline, It has a bad ring to it for some people. I don't know if they think it's like a boot camp where they have to do it. It's self-created. Self-discipline is self-created. There's no one that can tell us how to be self-disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to do that ourselves. And for someone who maybe thinks they have a hard time with that, it's just picking up healthy habits. And the more healthy habits that you become, it takes 3 weeks to make a habit like a reality. It can take up to 3 weeks, but to making those healthy habits. And what I do in the morning, I do something in the morning that maybe sounds so silly, but I give myself every single day. I did it this morning, of course. As soon as I get it, I'm in bed. I got a pit bull right on top of me. I get up and I say, "Good morning, Eric. It's going to be a great day." And I say it like like it's someone I like. And that way, it may sound silly. Maybe someone that hears me, I don't know, whatever. But to me, it sounds like, hey, I'm going to have a great day no matter what happens today. I'm going to still overcome all my challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come out strong, standing strong. And it works. It works. It's so simple. I had someone who runs a modeling agency, and she said to me, "I have all my models, like they watch your videos sometimes because it really helps them to like feel like they can do anything. They can take charge of their own lives." So that's kind of stuff. It's just, I think self-discipline's magical, really. It can do so much.
It truly is. And I'm also a proponent of saying things out loud. And
Yes.
I
Oh,
I even have noticed like I'm like conscious of what I say to my dog, and I do a little dog voice with her and what I make her say back to me. And I think I sometimes would make her be like sassier or something and talk back to me,
yeah.
and we'd have little,
Oh,
I
I
don't know,
love
back
that.
and forth.
Yeah.
But well,
Yeah.
now I stopped doing that. I decided it wasn't loving enough, and I wasn't voicing the right things with her. And I just think that our voices have so much power, and that's what you just gave an example of is such a simple one to be disciplined about. And I think that can open a lot of people's eyes because they don't even understand the possibilities.
They don't understand the possibilities. Is exactly correct. But I agree with you. Speaking words aloud. Words have spirit. 'Cause that's something
Yes.
and these are things I picked up. I'm not making anything up. This is stuff I picked up over time. Words have spirit. And that to me is a very, very, very strong statement because everything we say doesn't disappear. It's always there. So anything we say that we didn't choose our words very well, that's always going to be there. So choose words that have power. Choose words that are self-affirming. Choose words that give us confidence. And choose words for others that are pleasantly stated. And it's better to have a higher ground and not be negative with other people and to encourage. We don't know what anyone's going through too.
Agreed.
And I think the more we realize that so much we don't know,
Hmm.
and we don't know what someone even thinks is thinking about us when we're talking to them. So I would say, just live your life as if if you're not doing anything wrong. Live your life as if you can always tell the truth. You can always tell the truth. You never have to worry about lying, and also to have integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity is something that is, I think it should be a religion in some ways. That's maybe, you think about the Stoics and you think about how they were, and you think that a lot of that was just about having integrity,
Yeah.
personal and self-discipline.
Hmm. It really was. And I mean, if self-discipline is a form of self-love, do you have to love yourself first before the self-discipline, or does the self-discipline bring
Oh,
love, or what's our cycle there?
I think they go together, but I think you have to really understand yourself first. And I think sometimes we have to do a deep dive into our behaviors and think about things that are, like you say, feel uncomfortable. Feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Sometimes there are painful things in life that sometimes we have a habit of brushing away. They come back and bite us later on. And they might be something from your childhood that affects you at the age of 50 that you get angry about, that you remember all of a sudden.
Hmm.
Some things I'm thinking about myself. But that can be forgiven too. And that's how you learn to love yourself, is forgiving yourself for all the things you've done in the past. Hopefully you've made amends for that in some way, or atonement of some sort, so you understand them. You can't always apologize, but you can at least make some steps to kind of change our karma. You know what I mean? So you can make
Yeah.
steps to go through the bad stuff, because it helps us to be better now.
How does that look for you? So you just said I thought of some things from my past. And so like how does that feel to you now versus the way that it used to feel?
I'm totally at peace with my past and totally at peace with myself now.
Do you have
And now,
moments where it still comes up and you're like, "Oh yeah," and are able to put some things into practice to where
Oh yeah,
it's not taking over your emotions or anything like that?
of course. Yeah,
How's
of
that
course.
how's that look in practice, I guess? And what's that journey been like for you?
Mm, for me is learning myself. Learning. Like I was a stutterer when I was a kid. I stuttered.
Mm.
I was a really fast learner. I was reading at like a very high level, like at an early age, in math too. And I was always hungry to learn. I bring home. I was kind of shy. I had friends in the neighborhood I play with, but I mostly, I look forward to going to the library, and bringing home a stack of books. Like and I love, even now, I love travel and things like, and travel and good fictions, but even a lot of nonfiction history too. So that learning was kind of set me up in life, knowing that knowing that I had the knowledge, and then getting over the fact that my stuttering used to embarrass my father.
Oh,
And he would kind of marginalize me and get out of the way, you're in the way, that kind of stuff. And those are triggers for me for a long time. Figuring I was never in the way, but someone was coming by and I was in their way, and that would make me always feel like I was being pushed to the side. And I was kind of afraid to share my voice when I was younger. So growing up, I realized that I could do anything I wanted to do. And I don't stutter now, but at that time, it was a very traumatic way to grow up with that stutter, because it makes you shy. It makes you not participate as much.
yeah.
So that learning there, I have a lot of empathy for anyone who has any type of developmental issue as they're growing up. That sometimes you can overcome things with kindness. You can understanding, and you get help. For me, I can help myself. Now I can help others better.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that too. So that's, yeah, I live with someone who had a stutter too back then, and now he's a public speaker and like just
See?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really special to witness. Um, so with what we were just talking about too, do you believe in failure?
I believe failure is the greatest lesson, and I believe also that failure is how helps us conquer our ego sometimes.
Oh,
Ego, I think, is one of the most difficult things to live with as we get older. As if we can still living in our ego, where everything has to be about us, then we're not going to get anywhere in life. Then we're never going to be happy. So
yeah, you're right. What part of like giving back to others, you mentioned helping others, but how big of a role does that play in happiness and being disciplined enough to give back to people? What role
well,
does that play for
plays
you or
plays a
in
huge
recommending?
role in my life. It's a
Mhm.
daily thing. It's all the time in my
What does it
life.
look like for you? And what do you recommend to others?
I recommend, this is my other thing. Go through life with an idea where we're not afraid. I don't live in any fear. Another thing I tell myself, if anything is going on, I tell myself, I will not live in fear. I think that's another very powerful thing to say out loud, is I'm not in fear. Go through life with sort of an open mind. And I had an essay that I wrote. It was called "I Like Everyone." When I leave the house, I like everyone. I have a smile for everyone. If they're receptive, I have a smile. I have something kind to say. I want to make a connection. People are usually happy when I come back again. That's a really good measure of life too. If people are happy when you show up again, then you're doing the right thing.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. And that's a beautiful like default setting rather than operating from a place of everything's out to hurt me,
Oh,
which
paranoia. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure, which I can understand if someone's been traumatized, they have a lot
Oh,
to
yeah.
get through, certainly. But for the most part, that is true. That not everyone's out to hurt us, right? Like that we're able to function in a society where most everyone is going to be kind and surprise us
And
or
you can, and
not.
you can, and when you have that mindset, you can feel people that are traumatized. You can
Yeah,
feel it.
you really
And then
can.
you can take another approach to that person if you have to, if you're involved somehow. Take an approach where that they're being seen.
Mm,
I think a lot of it is making other people feel like they're seen.
yeah.
And like I say, I felt like I was unseen when I was young because I had the stutter. But I think it's a powerful thing to see people and to really let them know that you feel for them and you understand them. They're not victims. I don't like the idea that someone's a victim. I think it's another thing that sets people back. It traps them. And, sometimes things happen,
Hmm.
and you're with the wrong people. You made the wrong choices. We also had the choice. We also have the ability of choosing.
Hmm.
We can choose people in our lives. We can choose the type of society we want to be around, and we
True.
can also create. And when you have a voice, and you have a voice in an audience, that is so important, powerful too, because we can connect with others and help build. I want to build 1 million happiness warriors or more. That'd be awesome. It's a ton of us. I don't want to be the
Okay.
only one.
Yeah.
And but so it's. I tie a lot of it into my business life. My entrepreneurial life is very important to me too. That's who I am at heart. An entrepreneur is someone who's willing to take risks to believe in their dream. So that's
Yes.
all part of being happy. That's probably that can be good at anything, but doing something on your own that makes a big difference can really be very satisfying and make life a lot easier.
Yeah,
So
sure, sure. And setting an example in that way. And I
always,
mean, there are people that are legitimately victimized
oh, of
100%.
course,
And I think that it's interesting that you chose the moniker happiness warrior because you are stepping up, in a way that is setting an example to
I'm fighting for
help
those people.
others, fighting for everyone to
I'm
be
fighting for
happy,
the
right?
victims so they can
Yeah.
change the paradigm in their mind, that they can change their paradigm and live a happier life in another place in their life.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
And
sure.
it might, and all these things take time. It's not overnight. And this takes self-discipline. It takes instilling good habits. And it takes a belief that why are we here on this planet? Why are we here doing what we're doing? It doesn't even make sense sometimes, but it really does make sense when you think we all have a job. We all have something we have to do.
I'm glad you brought up the time aspect because it's so frustrating. We just want to flip a switch and take a magic pill, and that's not how it works. And at least that's not how it worked for me, not how it worked for you. How long would you say was this process? Were you like desiring happiness and then doing all these things and just seeing a light? And like, how did that function for
Well,
you?
I went through my life, pretty happy, popular, lots of friends, pretty easy jobs, things like that. Did really well. And then I went through a period where I was in a very broken relationship that gave me a lot of PTSD as I left that relationship. It was very difficult. And I went to sort of a darker place in my mind where I lost my identity through this big crash. And I got out of it. My friend said, one of my oldest friends, she stood by me. She said, I have never seen anyone go from like the lowest point to where you are now in a year or two. And I'm so proud of you. I thought, I don't like hearing those things. I don't like hearing compliments, but hearing someone that I know really well who doesn't give compliments really well, telling me how proud she is that that she's stuck with me for one thing. And then I think to myself, I have responsibility to do my best now. That's another one of my big things is that I think being our best is something we can do every day. We can be better the next day. I always tell myself before I go to bed, did my best today. I'll do better tomorrow. I do a lot of this stuff. It's just silly. I
No,
did
it's
my
not
listen.
silly. These are
I
the
did
things
my
I
best
want to know.
today.
I want to know these.
I do my before I go to bed. I'll sit and I'll do some breathing. Maybe I'll do some stretching. I think stretching is good before bed. I'm very big fitness advocate, and mental fitness too. That comes from our bodies too.
Hmm.
And I just tell myself, it's kind of like a prayer to the universe for me. I grew up in a religious kind of environment. It's not who I am at all. And it was never who I was. I was always feeling kind of at odds with my upbringing, especially with hypocrisy and a lot of other things. So I always thought, I'm going to go my own way. I'm going to go my own way. This is who I am now. This is who I am now. That's just my own way. So um, that's where I am.
No, I love that. And I want to talk about mind body, but I also really want to know all these little practices because those are so easy.
Yeah.
Like, how easy is that to do before bed and say, like, I did my best today? Because I'm like you, I'm a huge believer that everybody's doing their best, like doing the best with what they got right now. And can we do better? Yeah. Yeah, we probably can. So, find ways. But like, tell me all those. I want to know all these little things that you do that are like, and I want to get into the harder stuff too, which is about the mind body connection and movement. But
Well,
the easy stuff, like, yeah.
easy stuff for one thing is I think is being able to I don't have an addictive personality, so I'm able to cut things off if they're not good for me. So sometimes even like I don't overeat. I don't do a lot of things that are like I don't do gluttonous behaviors. I think that when we really think about the basics of life, okay, treating others properly, kindly, having forgiveness, believing in ourselves, and then I think about the daily habits. Well, and it kind of ties into the mind body because my daily habits are to create the healthiest body and mind body connection I can as I age. I just turned 61. And I
Nice.
felt like it's a challenge. I think every year when you have a birthday, it's kind of like a day of atonement. It's also a day that's think, this is what I did last year. This is what I think is my New Year's. I think it was my New Year's Day is my birthday. It's the summer. It's in the summer. And rather than having a New Year's resolution that's going to be useless and worthless, why not just think about what we've done great, what we've done really well, what we can improve on, and use that to build a better platform for life. So, and for me, it's food. For me is, and if we're off track here, but like nutrition to me is very personal every day. It's based on what I have to do that day ahead of me. So I think about what I need to be eating. If I'm traveling, I'm not able to go to the gym for a couple of days. I'm not going to eat as much. I might be concentrating on getting more cardio and eating stuff that's really nutritionally dense, like avocados and nuts and things like that. So I'm thinking about brain food often. That's the reason I'm thinking about. And energy. What do I want to do today? Every day I have to go on a walk in the morning before sunrise or so. Every day I get on my bike. I live in a really great bike-friendly city that's usually pretty nice weather. It's beautiful today. And I do a lot of things that are, instead of taking my car, I take my bike, and instead of taking the car, I'll walk somewhere. But I think about where my energy and my time is best used, and then what I need to do to fuel myself through the day. I need food all the time. I'm always moving. I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about. I have a lot of rules for food too. Not rules like terrible things, but like as far as eating, I have one rule. Like I used to be a personal trainer. I had some personal trainer friends that were pretty big deals, like in California and Los Angeles. And one of the things I pick up a lot from people, and one of the things I picked up was every other thing that goes in your mouth should be green, which means that everything should be a fruit or a vegetable. It doesn't have to be green, but just something that has fiber and vegetarian type food. If you're eating a steak, start with a salad. If you're eating something, start with something that fills you up first, the greens and good filter for your system, and then eat whatever you want, and you're going to eat less. You're not going to overeat. That's one of my really good rules, not to overeat. Okay.
It's funny how that works. Like when I do that, I'm like, oh, duh. I just ate a perfect meal with like quinoa and tofu and spinach and avocado and, like carrots. And I'm like, and now I'm not hungry, of course, right? It's how it works. And, though, it strikes me with what you said about your nutrition. You said it's very personal, but it's actually, it strikes me that it is not. It's almost like you've stepped outside yourself and you're fueling this creature that you love, and it's like what I would want my children to do, to eat, and instead, when we make it personal, it's like, oh, I need this right now. Like I need a treat.
Oh yeah,
I need this Halloween candy, and it just feels good right now. That's what seems so personal to me. And instead, you view it as really fueling.
Life affirming.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think
interrupt me,
the personal part of me is the life affirming effect. That's where I'm getting personal.
I like that. Yes, right.
It's
Your
life affirming.
deepest, your
choosing
deepest personal.
I've been called, like my husband sometimes will call me a machine because I just have I have a sense of flow that I can get a lot of things done, and I'm very organized in my brain, but sometimes, not always, but sometimes I am. And getting to that place with nutrition, I think to myself, I want to be a good example for others, but being the best example for myself first. And it's more important that you can only help if you don't feel good. You're not going to be able to help others. If you're not taking care of yourself, you lose your powers to do other things to help people too.
Yeah.
You just become. So I don't have a lot of people like that in my life, but I have a lot of people like that I'd like to help get out of that lifestyle too.
For sure. And that's another part of this mind body thing. Like, and we're not really taught that. And it's just so frustrating to see too, because it's something that we have to like cultivate for ourselves, I feel like, so much. And so let's talk more about this mind body connection and happiness. And the more I do it, the happier I am. And like, I know I have a friend, and I can't remember, we were somewhere and we said something about, he's in his 60s. We said something about, oh, fat and happy or whatever. And he was like, he bristled and he was like, I don't believe in that. That's not a thing, And like, I think he's kind of right in some ways, because there's this thing where we're not feeling our best if our bodies are not operating at a more optimal place.
Yeah.
So, right?
I'm thinking, I'm such a, like, my thinking is this. I always think, if you've been through a lot in your life and you've had a low point, and everybody's had a point, think about this. This beautiful machine that we're born with, this is our body, I always think of it as a beautiful machine that needs to be tended well. You need to take care of it. Like, if say it's a Porsche or a Ferrari, you have to tune it up, keep it fueled properly, and clean it, take care of it, nourish it, exercise it, do everything you can to respect the fact that we had this beautiful machine that we were given. And that's a lifelong job. That's a lifelong part of, it's everything, really.
It really is. And food is such a comfort for me that it's one of the things that I turn to. And so when my partner was in active addiction, it was something that I turned to. I gained 40
Yeah.
pounds. And like, people are shocked by that because I'm tall and I pulled it off fairly well. But really, my body took some hits. And now that I've lost it, it's just so different. But it took me going through that to really understand it. And I think that I'm trying to point that out. I think that sometimes
Yeah.
it just takes this knowledge of like, this isn't serving me in the way that I really want to live my life as I get
Yeah.
older,
Well, sometimes we watch ourselves. We can kind of see ourselves and we see our behavior, but we can kind of
Yeah.
give ourselves maybe even let it go for a little while, because we're not ready to approach it yet. We're not ready to break the cycle until we know when we're ready.
Yeah.
I think we usually know when we're ready. We usually know, and that's the impetus to move forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Ironically, during that time, I was really happy. I've done so many practices on myself. So that kind of surprised me because I thought, wow, you know what? At the same time, I love myself so much and I am happy. And so that was an interesting thing to experience too. But then it did shift at a point where I was like, you know what? If you really love yourself, you're going to take better care of yourself. And so I had to really shift into what that looks like and dial in some
and how
physical
did that
things.
feel? It must have
Feels
felt
fucking
like
great.
you're
Yeah.
taking control. You're taking your power again. You're
Oh
controlling
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels
It's like a
amazing.
eye-opening. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sexier and better in my body and all the
Yeah.
things, right? So that's been just an interesting, I don't know, part of getting older that I didn't really see coming because I'm 53. And so,
Wow.
that was interesting. Yeah. So thank you. Appropriate
You're doing
response
great in your
though.
50s. The thing is, and what happened with me also is that I had a point in my 40s after I had been through all this stuff, and I was doing well again. I had my own, everything was going well. I was married and had a nice,
Uh,
decent house and a good career. I really had to reset myself a lot, and it was just kind of like I wanted to do more of myself and becoming an entrepreneur. But I had some lower, my hormones were a little messed up in my mid 40s. I started feeling all this high energy that I had all the time was started to go away. And I'm competitive. I was very competitive to be the best at my job that I had at the time, my career. But I was also letting other things in my life sort of slide. My sex life, my gym. I wasn't as ready for the gym. And I didn't know what was going on. This is almost 18 years ago. And I found out that I had low testosterone, which is like, well, what's that? You don't need anything for that. It's just getting older. And that's what I heard from my physician. You're just getting older. Here's a little something that might help. It didn't do much. And then I have a lot of old friends. I have a lot of people who have known me for a long time who are not afraid to get in touch with me because they're okay. A friend called me and told me about a longevity clinic in Florida. And went there, learned about my hormone system, learned that my testosterone was low, and was on physician-supervised therapy. And it's therapy that covers everything. It covers your gonads, it covers your estrogen levels, and it also helps to restore testosterone levels. And it was like an amazing thing. I remember feeling like, after a few weeks, though, I remember feeling like I can't wait to keep doing more of this because I feel good every day. I don't need more of this stuff. I need the same amount every day, but I feel good every day. And my mindset just improved. I became an entrepreneur. I mean, I was always at heart. My father was an entrepreneur. I started having a lot of belief in myself, and I was able to start my own business, cut the ties. I remember walking into my dumpy little office that I first had that needed a lot of work, and closing the door and thinking, I don't have a boss today. It's a great feeling to know this door is my door now, and no one's looking over my shoulder. Now it's up to me. Now I have to set a good example for my business too, and that's kind of another thing that's kept me going for like the last 14 years with my health and my physique and the way I carry myself is that I set a good example for the patients in our clinic.
For sure, you do. For sure.
I have to be a good example. And I see so many people in my business, in the longevity clinic business, that haven't lived that way. They haven't walked the talk. They haven't lived they haven't lived their in practice what they're selling.
Practice what they're preaching,
Okay.
for sure.
Practice what they're preaching, right? I was going to say live the walk the talk.
Well, yeah. And is that one of the first things that you tell people too when they're talking about how they're feeling? You're like, have you done your hormone levels? I mean,
I do, because I look at a lot of people. I can tell that they're struggling hormonally.
Really? You can just tell by looking?
Many men,
Love it.
especially, and when people are frustrated and angry and they get kind of fuddled and they just can't do anything without acting out and being crazy, those are usually men with low testosterone.
Interesting.
If your testosterone lowers as we get older, naturally, estrogen levels rise. Now, in a man's body, estrogen has to be in a certain range. You have to have a range that is, it's almost like backwards from a female. So you always have to have some testosterone, much higher estrogen levels. But with a man, estrogen levels can creep up, especially in this world we live in right now. There's a lot of estrogen. There's a lot of endocrine blockers everywhere. Endocrine disruptors everywhere we go. If you have Febreze or you're spraying stuff in your house or there's pesticides on the corner, those all contribute to an estrogen imbalance, and usually they contribute to lower testosterone. So I still like people out there struggling unnecessarily. They don't need to always go to a clinic like mine, but there's things they can do to improve them on their own, just through lifestyle changes too. And that means having self-discipline, going to the gym, eating properly, sleeping properly, which is also important. But having the clinic, though, for me, it's been my guide. It's been sort of, the Happiness Warrior is one thing, but the clinic itself is the foundation of my life right now. It's what I do. I talk it every day. I talk to people every day. I talk to new patients, and I try to find a commonality with everyone so I can help them get through their own struggles.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's no denying our mind-body connection, and so it's very important to tie these two together because our hormones do affect us, like everything that's going on. Like, even if, I've been sober now for 3.5 years, and the alcohol, like I remember when I tapered off drinking, like alcohol would affect my moods well into the next week, and people aren't making connections of all the chemicals and everything that's going on. I'm just using that as one example, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You want to talk about alcohol?
Well, our mutual friend, we're not going to talk about her, our mutual friend.
We can talk about her, Giselle Coy. We love Giselle.
Giselle, she was
friend
awesome.
of the show.
Same thing. She was no alcohol, no weed, nothing at all, and just had the very high vibration. That was how she lives. And these friends like that, they see good in you too. So you want to be part. I always think to myself, I have a drink on date night, like every 5 or 6 weeks, if we're lucky. If we have a date night, it's not very often. I might have a drink. We might have a drink at dinner. But as far as alcohol or anything like that is a definite, fast food, alcohol, all these things can set us back. Having a few drinks, you think, I'm going to unwind and have 3 or 4 drinks on a Friday night. Your metabolism, energy levels, even mood and everything is set back for quite a while after that. So
how long? How long do you see?
I say even a week or two, it could be a problem. I think it can be, because then you start wanting more, and then you start getting into that place where, I was a real estate agent for a long time, and I was a good one that everyone knew who I was, and I had a good reputation. But there was a lot of drinking involved in that field. Okay, there was a lot. I would come home, and now I was married, and maybe 10 years in my marriage or 5 years in marriage, and I have a bottle of vodka in the freezer, and I have one drink at night. But that it messes with your sex life, it messes with your motivation, and it starts being a crutch for something that's not even a problem.
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
So that kind of lifestyle is my lifestyle. I like that better.
It's really a trip for me. It just was outside my comfort zone too, so that was a big part of it for me. I thought, what if, how good could life get? How will I feel if I give it up? And here I am. So
I think your timing was really good. We're seeing I think we're seeing a post-alcohol world now where people are realizing that's not important. There's bars in DC that don't serve alcohol.
It's so cool, right? Yes.
It's very cool. They have games, they play. There's another bar that doesn't take cell phones. You have to put your cell phone in when you go. I don't go to bars, but Those are the kind of things I think that are changing, and alcohol use is going way
Yeah.
down. Alcohol is not a big thing right now. And people are realizing that they're happier, they're less aggressive, they're sleeping better. Sleep is so important. The most thing I worry about a lot of people is I worry about people that don't get enough sleep, people that I know, that I care about.
Oh, yeah. That's my
You know,
number one.
yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit about your top, let's say 5 or top however many you want to list, um,
Okay.
things that you recommend to get happy. So, what are they?
Always a daily affirmation every single morning. Okay, I think it's so important. I echo that. Do that at night as well. A little nightly affirmation to close down our brain for the
Yeah.
evening, just to shut down and be able to sleep with, hey, I've done my best today. That means just I have to worry about tonight. That's going to keep me awake. That's the big thing. My sister has a very high pressured life, and we don't always get along, but she's a good person. She does really good things, and she said to me, I said, how do you sleep? And she says, I sleep really, my younger sister too, she says, I sleep really well because I've worked really hard all day. I've done everything I can, the best I can. That's where I get that from. I pick things up from other people. Don't you? I mean, you
Oh,
pick up
yeah.
things up, the good habits from others.
That's why I do this
And
show.
it's
Yeah.
up to
Tell
us.
me.
It's up to us to use. Yeah. And so that's my biggest thing. I think daily movement is humans are supposed to move. So movement makes us happy. If you have to, I do things like if I'm just filling a big water thing, I do some, I'll even I'll raise myself on my toes up and down because that's a really good way to get your metabolism started is I should just do
Ooh,
a
I
toe
like
lift.
it.
Yeah. So things like that. Daily movement is important. And then I think it's also important every day. And this is a lot of people I know in my world that do health and that are influencers of that is having 30 to 40 minutes of just good cardio every day too. I do I'll do it at least twice a day, but just 30, 40 minutes is good for anyone really. And choosing our nutrition really well, nutritionally dense foods, being kind, smiling, and always, I think my biggest thing also is strength as well. It makes a big difference in our happiness and our mood and our self-confidence.
It
I'm a big
does.
self-confidence person. I'm a big helping others build their own confidence so they don't need someone else to help them.
Yeah, exactly. And it really is a practice, like something that you have to show up for yourself and be diligent on. A million percent. And it's, I think, a practice. It's not something that you're done with. Would you speak to that for a moment about the fallacy that we're done one day and can check the box?
We're never done. We're never done until our last breath. I think we're never done. And one thing I do have in my life that I had in my life when I was a stuttering kid is I had my dad's sisters. I had 3 aunts that were very influential. They were very positive with me. They saw what was good in me. I think it was when I was growing up, and they kind of looked after me. But they were all happiness warriors themselves. They're all people who make people happy when they're around them, and they don't live hard. Everyone has a hard life. Everyone has hard things happening, but they might show their human side, but they never let go of the fact that we're supposed to be happy and we're supposed to help other people be happy too. So those are my biggest influences,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
in life. And there's still my aunt now, my last remaining one is alive. She's an artist, and we try to see each other a few times a year. And she says, I have another 20 good years left in me at least. And she paints and teaches classes and walks everywhere, and she's great. But that's who I want to be. That's 20 years away from me too. I want to be just like her too. And happy, and she's in a good relationship, and she's a wonderful boyfriend at her age, and they're great together, and they have the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think having a partner, if you have lifestyles that are very different, I don't think it works very well.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
I've been divorced twice, so agreed.
I've been.
Yeah. You know what? The moniker Happiness Warrior, how did that come about for you? And
It was a combination of things. I had a publicist originally about 4 or 5 years ago who wasn't really good for me, but it was good for me because he spoke to me on the first day that we were speaking. He said, you are such a happy, well-rounded person. I'm going to call you the happiness warrior.
wow.
And I can't remember these, but now sometimes I think of my thinking. I think also our friend Giselle, I remember being with her and visiting her in Sedona during COVID in like August of 2020. And I went out there and we just went hiking and talked and did all kinds of cool things. And we had a lot of serious discussions. I had a lot of serious friends back in that first year of 2020 because most of us were trying to help. We're trying to like consult with each other about how to go forward in life. And I thought, this is a terrible thing, but I'm ready for it because I was already ready for it. I was ready for anything when it happened. I was ready for it. And then having a friend like Giselle, I remember the last big conversation we had on a beautiful riverside in the little riverbank in Arizona. And she said, you're the happiness warrior and that's what you're going to be. And I'm going to see you do something with this. This is something you're going to do for me. You're going to do this for yourself. And I'm going to kick your butt if you don't. That's the kind of friend she was. So I think, that spirit still stays with me. Those words and that lovely smile and the spirit and the intention that it had, the intention that she had too, was pure.
Yeah. And it's nice too that it's something that you pay forward to other people. You say, you're a happiness warrior. My aunt was, and my family. And yeah, that's really lovely. So, I wanted to address longevity for a moment because all the practices, of course, that you're talking about with mind, body, and happiness, self-discipline, those are all things that help propel us with longevity. But I think that also, and hormones, of course, but also it's an overwhelming conversation right now, or rather industry, and longevity. And so when it seems overwhelming to people, what are you recommending people to do when you talk about longevity tips and practices?
I think about too many people get too confused and they have too many things they think are going to help them, and they might buy into some system that's going to help them or something, and they'll spend money and they'll have a trainer and they'll have this and that. Go back to
sauna. I need to do this, cryo, whatever it is.
Simplicity is where it really counts. The simplicity is a walk is a very good way of just doing therapy for ourselves. Okay, it's just a good way of getting. It's a beautiful thing. Like getting back to simple things, weightlifting that is very just good form and take your time and do good reps and make sure that you're feeling it, like each muscle is activated. And that kind of, and simple foods, simple things that are going to make us feel good. And so, and then resting properly, getting enough. And one thing I've learned in life in the last couple of years now, I'm 61, is having a really good, I don't think I have a day when I don't do anything, but having a rest day from resistance training and things like that can just be a good day to kind of reset. So
that's nice. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we overcomplicate it. And the more I've learned on this show in particular and in my life, and living in Austin.
Yeah.
So, which is a biohacker's dream these days. It's just like I come back to, it's so simple and we make it more complicated than it has to be.
We do. And that's where I always go. We're making things so complicated, we're going to feel like we're missing out on something that we don't really need.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's marketing for you right there, right? So yeah, absolutely.
It's old knowledge that we all have that we just need to come back to.
Truly. And I wanted to also ask you, you mentioned toward the beginning that you had a vision of you steering a ship, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool and powerful image and vision that you can conjure up to, I don't know, take control of things and feel like you're navigating your own ship or whatever, commanding.
Through a storm. And you're gonna I always say we're going to get there safely.
And we're going to I like that.
Yeah.
Really cool. And what other visions do you use to help you navigate different things? Do you have any other ones, or is that one of your main ones?
That's one of my main ones. But really what I do is I really try to listen to what the universe is telling me, what I'm supposed to be doing. I always feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. This is very important to me to live in the present. This is what I'm doing. Now I have visions of myself. And one of the things that really I think about, I love doing live television. It's something that I have been able to do quite a bit this last year. And I love that 5 minutes on air or whatever, 10 minutes, whatever I have, 3, 2, 1, you're live. And I love having that kind of, it is the greatest natural high for me. And that's something that I envisioned myself doing a long time ago. I knew I'd be on television one day before I even had an idea of how I'd get there. So now I have to take this dream that I have and make it into something. I want to have my own show someday or whatever I want to do. But I'm always thinking about what I can do now to get there. So
So that's kind of the vision that you like work from when you're thinking about the future and that kind of thing.
I
So
want to have a bigger voice, a bigger voice that really helps put happiness back on the forefront and back onto something that's not marginalized, something that we're not embarrassed to be happy, something that we can take pleasure from
yeah,
and grow from.
yeah.
And like I said, people are going to be like, "Oh, he can't be that guy," whatever. And I'm just kind of like, I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't know what they're thinking anyway. Like I said before, I'd rather just believe in myself, keep moving forward. I'm not going to hide. I'm going to be always visible. And I always want to say the right things to people. I think, and the words are so important.
Yeah, I
I'm so
know.
simple. I don't have that much depth. I'm just like, everything I do is right on the surface. And it's about authenticity.
hmm And it's about alignment too. It's about being who
Yeah.
you say you are, and
Yeah.
at least for me, I've discovered that, and I like to keep finding ways to be better and be more aligned and all that. Yeah. So I agree very much with that. It's very aligned with my own life. So as we're wrapping up today, Eric, this has been a pleasure. What would you like to, is there anything that's on your heart that we didn't get to today that you want to say, or is there anything that you just want to reiterate and leave everyone with today?
I just want to say that the power to be happy is within all of us. We all have an innate ability to be happy. It may be a tiny little light and a dim little spark inside, but you can find that. And that can take us through the most terrible things that are happening. And that can be our escape into a better place. It can be, I always think life is serendipity. It's usually better than I think it's going to be. Although I usually have a good attitude I usually have a good mindset about what's coming next. I just think the next choices are always there. The next steps are always there right in front of us. And I remember being in Sedona and with my friend, and we were on this mesa, and we came across this group of people having a prayer, like they had a Native American guide, and they had some people doing big prayer circle on the mesa, everybody sitting there and chanting and doing some things. And I at first we sat down and joined them, and I wasn't sure how I would join in. My mind was wandering. I was looking at this mountain that had a trail I wanted to go climb. And I'm thinking, I want to go climb this mountain. And then I started listening. And somehow it got into my head. And I went to another place in my brain. And I was staring at, those big, red, beautiful mountains in Sedona that are very old. They're very old. They're the oldest mountains in North America. And I was looking for something on that trip. I was searching for answers. I was searching where my next step was. Was I going to be the happiness warrior? What was I going to do? My business was, my business is important. And I swear, this is the craziest thing. I swear, I was looking up at the mountain. I saw like this little face in the mountain. And I swear I heard a voice. I don't know if it's male or female, but it was a very authoritative voice. Everything you need to know is right within. I heard that. And I was like, buzzing after that. Everything ended. We were going down the trail. We were going back together. I said, I just had a moment. I said to Giselle, I just had a moment where I felt like everything I need to know is right here, right now. And I heard the mountain. And of course, she was like, I bet you did, because she believes it. She was like, not going to tell me no. And no, it was great. So, and that was something that was really important, is to listen to messages that are all around us all the time. And often it's the right message that we need to listen to. So,
Yeah. And it's
yeah.
about it takes self-discipline to cultivate the ability to hear that voice. So,
Yes.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here today. How can everyone find you and follow you?
Best place to find me is on Instagram. I'm the Happiness Warrior Official, and you can do a lot of stuff on there. I'm actually starting a very new approach to my social media coming up soon, so it's going to be really good. I also have a website. It's www.thwarrior.com. So
Absolutely.
you can
Well, all
find me
that
there.
will be in the show notes, and you're very easy to find. And so people should reach out to you if they're interested in perhaps learning more and working with you. And I
I
just want to
well,
say thanks. Yeah,
yeah, I
absolutely.
welcome anyone who reaches out to me. I'm always very receptive to hearing from other people. So
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. Well,
yeah.
thank you, Eric. This has been a joy, and I just wish you lots of success, and keep cultivating happiness warriors all over the place.
Well, with you around, Amy, it's hard not to. Okay, you set such a great example yourself. So
Very
you're
kind.
definitely a happiness warrior.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're very sweet. I'm just doing my part,
yeah. I
just
speak the truth.
amplifying voices where I can. So thank you so much, and just very grateful that you showed up today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful too. Thank you, Amy.
Oh, let's all be happiness warriors, right? Thank you for showing up today. Maybe you're like we're all honorary happiness or warriors now that we've shown up today because we are fighting for our own happiness. I mean, it's interesting to think about fighting for our own happiness, but when we are disciplined and when we're showing up like that, that's essentially what we're doing. We're fighting up. We're showing up, fighting for our own happiness. And I really liked his night mantra. Like, I did my best today. I have a night mantra. Y'all know that, right? Like, because I'm a recovering ruminator, so that's why affirmations are so helpful to me, because I ruminate on the bad stuff and dig those paths in my brain and then just go right back to your shit or whatever it is. And so my nighttime one is, I love myself, life loves me. I have to keep it real, real simple, but his were so simple. And I like that. And he said, even, I'm a simple guy, and it's about simplicity. So when you find yourself getting confused, overcomplicated, bring it back to something simple. Like, I love myself, life loves me. I did my best today. I can rest my head. I did my best today. And that's right. And I don't know, that one challenges me a little bit, because sometimes I'm like, did I do my best today? I didn't, I was lazy here or there. I looked at my phone too long or whatever it is, but ultimately you did do your best. We're all doing our best all the time. And maybe your best just looked a little different today. Maybe tomorrow it's going to look different. It's just up and down. It just means that you're still showing up for life, right? And that's a win. That is a win and a half. So give ourselves credit for that. And I love simplicity. We make it so complicated all the time with all these things that we could be doing, should be doing, told to do, marketed to us. Buy this, buy that, do this, do that. I know. Even on this show, I'm covering things all the time. And then I go like, oh my gosh, should I be doing all these other things? Do I need to hire a biological dentist? Do I need to have my saliva tested? Blah, blah, blah. Well, let's get simple with it. Take a deep breath, tune into our breathing, find those spaces where, like, really, literally, mine lately has been finding the spots in my body that are tense. And I am constantly shocked where I'm holding tension. Like right now, I can feel it in my forehead and I'm just relaxing it. I held so much tension in my forehead. I can feel Botox literally helps me because it relaxes the tension in my forehead. But I don't really have much right now. Feel it there. Feel it in my body. I feel it in my legs, my feet. Just do that. Do a quick little body scan. How simple is that, right? And that's just a little habit that we can build. And simplicity, right? Go for a walk, get some sunshine, just eat something healthy. I will want to shove anything in my face, and I'll just have to pause, put together a bowl with healthy stuff, put some pumpkin seeds on top of it, nutritional yeast, and then I'm good to go. Some olive oil. And then I'm like, wow, I don't feel like snacking now. Could it be that I actually ate nutritional food? Funny how that works. All right. And if you're looking for more on real world, talk about all this stuff, check out my other podcast, Anything But Mid, with my co-host, Whitney Strop, all about maximizing our midlife and making it the best it can be. It is linked in the show notes as well. So I'm so happy you're here. I love you so much, and you are doing the thing. You're winning today, right? Doing your best. Keep it simple. Wake up tomorrow. It's going to be a great day. Insert your name. And I love you. And here we go. Woohoo! We woke up another day. I mean, shit, how many people would love to wake up and get out of bed another day, right? Simplicity. I love that. A beautiful takeaway. Here's to being a happiness warrior. I love you so much. Keep shining bright. Till next time. Thank you so much for being here. Please rate, review, and follow us. And we'd love to hear your feedback. Keep shining bright.